Hello again, and welcome back to another craft kit tutorial. My name is Colleen Hatch, and I am the assistant teen librarian here at the Woodmere branch. Today we're doing a tutorial for the Night Sky Bookmark. So in your craft kit, you have a wood bookmark, lots of paints. You will have black. You will have white and yellow, and then either red or blue, depending on which kit you choose. And then Mod Podge as well, which is marked with a little MP on it, so you can tell it from the white paint. And then a sponge brush, a pointed brush, and a flat brush. So, from home, you're going to want some water to rinse out your paintbrushes. I have like a paper plate to mix colors on, and then just some paper towel to keep everything nice and neat and clean. So, we will go ahead and bring you down, and I will show you how we're going to do this. Okay, so we are down here. Hopefully you can see me pretty well. So what we're going to do is start with our base color, which is going to be your red or your blue, and your bookmark. So I'm going to put this on the paper towel just to keep things nice and neat and clean, hopefully. And then we're going to do some color mixing. So I'm going to kind of cheat here, and I'm going to just use the back of my paintbrush to kind of mix, and I'll wipe it off with my handy dandy paper towel. So we want to go ahead and prep all of our colors. So you'll need obviously your base. You're going to want a slightly lighter version of your base. So I'm going to pour a little bit of red, and then just a little tiny bit of white. Maybe. White's a little thicker than my red paint, obviously. Remember, you can always add more of something if you need to. And then I'm also going to make a orange or green if you're using your blue paint, obviously, with a little bit of red and a little bit of yellow. Might be a little easier if you have like a little toothpick. Yeah, please don't use your toothbrush. That would be terrible. I don't think anybody wants paint on their toothbrush. Alright, there's some yellow. And then we're going to use pure white and pure red. So, I'm going to go ahead and just use the back of the paintbrush. Try to mix these up. Again, keep in mind you may have to add more. Like this does not seem very orange to me, so I will definitely be adding more yellow to that. I'll wipe that off. Yellow, we're not really using for anything else, so I'm not too concerned about getting a little red in my yellow. You could honestly mix it in your yellow paint too, if that would be easier, and maybe I should want that direction instead. More yellow paint. Okay. I don't need this to be super duper orange. I just want it a little different than the red, so there's a definite difference and get some dimensions. So that looks better. That looks more like an orange. Okay. So once you get your desired color there, you're good. And I'm going to mix up this red and white. Yeah, not nearly enough white there. Well, maybe it is. Let's see. I like to go pretty heavy with the contrast so you can actually see a difference personally. So I think I'm going to add just a touch more white to that. This one we are going to want some pure white, so I'm going to try not to stick my paintbrush in there if I can help it. Alright. That's quite a bit lighter. I like that better. Alright. Trying to mix it pretty well, but we will be blending it out, so if it's not absolutely perfectly homogeneous, it's okay. Homogeneous meaning mixed. Anyway. Alright. So that looks pretty good. Alright, so we've got red, we've got white, a little bit of red in my white, but we'll just try to avoid that part. Table a little bit. Can never manage to do any painting project without getting paint everywhere. Big surprise there. Alright, so we're going to start with our base here, and we're going to paint the whole thing red. Work top to bottom with your strokes just to stop there from being a lot of brush marks on it. And I do a pretty thick coat, so I'm going to go kind of light initially and then just kind of go over it again, make sure we really have coverage with that red. So we're also kind of using it to blend our other colors. So there's a good initial coat, and I'm just going to kind of glob some more on so we have a nice thick coat of red. So we are doing some blending with the red. Alright, that looks okay. Smooth that out just a little bit. Alright, make sure you're rinsing your paintbrush so we're not ruining that. Alright, and then while this is still wet, you want to take your sponge brush and just add some little dabs of other colors around your project. I kind of use a paper towel and just kind of dab it off in between. It's okay if your colors mix. As a matter of fact, I mean, you're going to want them to, so don't stress too much about getting it perfectly clean, because you're just not going to. Sure. And then we want just white as well. That white, be a little more careful with, because it is a pretty strong color. Okay. So, I've got those on there, and then I'm just going to kind of mostly dab off my brush, and we're just going to kind of lightly tap to blend them together. You want to leave some red in the background, obviously, because you want it to still look like the sky is that color, so don't go too overboard. And you can always go back and add a little more. Like, I'd like to add a little more white, I think. Ooh, that's a lot of white. Put some more. Alright. Okay. How about some more orange? Kind of like that orange. If you're getting a little overloaded on your paintbrush, just go back through and kind of dab it off. Can also go back and put a little red on top, which I'm going to do, I think, to try to break this back up. Alright, I'm going to really dry this off. If you need me to paper towel, which I might, I'm just going to really try to get this worked down a little bit. There's a lot of extra paint and I want it a little more blended than that. So I dried off my brush. I'm definitely going to want to go back over this with some red, but let's get this kind of dried down a little bit. And then go over with some red. Now, if you really, really don't like how it's going, which is, it's okay right now. I would like a little more contrast, honestly, but you can always let it dry and then kind of see where you land. This is where I'm at with my first pass of it. It is pretty, and it looks better on the camera than it does up close for sure. So, when you are happy with your first coat, or you're ready to let it dry and see how it is, go ahead and stop for now and let that dry. Oh, there we go, there's a little bit. And then we can go back over it later if you so desire. So white. Off. Oh, there. This is definitely a just kind of like feel it as you go project. There we go. I like that a little bit better. A little more contrast there than before. Squeeze that off. And blend. Alright. Let's call that good. I like that a little bit better. I went over with some orange and some white. You can kind of see a little better there. So we're going to go ahead and let that dry. I'm going to clean up my workspace a little bit. And then we will come back and do the next step. Okay, we are back. This is pretty much dry now, so we will continue with the next part. So let's take some of this white paint, and we want to water this down just a touch, because we want to make some stars. So I'm going to go ahead, I'm just going to use my paintbrush to get some of this out, because this is more difficult than it needs to be. Okay, I have my water bottle, we'll just use that. I'm going to get a little on my fingers, I literally need like drops, I don't need a lot. And then we're going to mix it up. We just want to water down this paint a little bit as I dump my white paintbrush all over the table. Alright. So, get my paper towel. Alright, let's go ahead and rinse this brush out. Now I have paint water. Alright. My table off a little too. Alright, so this is kind of a messy part, so make sure you're in a spot that's going to be easily cleaned up. Load this watered down paint on your brush, and we are literally just going to kind of flick. Because we are wanting stars. So, there we go. So there is that. Now again, unfortunately, it's probably time to let this dry. I want a little more in the middle here, because we have a few things to paint on top. However, we don't want to paint over this wet paint. So go ahead and let that dry. I guess technically you probably could have done that while your paint is still wet. However, I'm just trying to not smear too much. So let this dry. It shouldn't take too long. It's just a little quick dusting of paint there. So after that dries, we will continue with our little accents to make this look more like a scene. So we will be back in a moment. Okay, we're back. So this is all dry now. It didn't actually take very long at all. So there's your cool spacey background. So now we are adding some details. Now this is an optional step, having this bottle cap. I am a terrible freehand drawer, so I use this to help me make a circle. So if you are confident in your circle making abilities, feel free to skip this step. I am not, so I'm not going to skip it. So I'm going to paint, about 2/3 of the way around on this. I'm just trying to use it as a template for my moon that I want on here. So I'm going to do, yeah, that looks pretty good. And then I'm going to put it where I want it. This way. I want the opening that way. Okay. And just kind of stamp it down, just to get like seriously, it's not even very dark there. I don't even know if you can really see it. It is just to give me an idea of where I need to be. And then with your fine brush, you can kind of extend it out if you need to. I want it a little bit bigger than that. There we go. And then you want to kind of connect them in that crescent shape. Hardest part for me, to be completely honest with you, because again, I am not a painter. So you just kind of want to go towards the center. It wants to be, you want to be thinner at the ends, a little thicker in the center, but not too thick. Thankfully, paint is pretty forgiving, so you can kind of adjust as you go. There's basic idea. And we want to fill in and kind of adjust as necessary. I'm going to put a little more paint on there. Now I am, as you probably figured out from watching my videos, a bit of a perfectionist, so I'm going to try really hard not to overdo this, because I have a tendency to overdo it. Alright, we're going to call that good before I kill myself. So there's a moon. Alright, so then you're done with that white paint. Make sure you're rinsing out your brushes as you go. I'll put the cap back on the white. And get this out of my way. And then we want to do the trees. So, I'm going to make sure that that's nice and dry and good. And for the trees, we're going to take our black, and we're going to start with just a few lines from the bottom in varying heights. You want them kind of tall. This is a very long bookmark, and it takes up more space than you think it does. So I'm going to make this one pretty tall. And then I'm going to do this one, maybe a little shorter than that. Not too short, but a little shorter. A little baby tree. And then let's do, I'm going to try to get 4 in here, I think. I'm going to make this one taller again. I'm going to go way up here with that one. Ooh. So these are like your tree trunks, I guess you could say. I'm just drawing them in there to get an idea of where we want to be. I'm going to do just a little tiny guy. I'll do it a little taller than the other one, but not much. How about that? No real right or wrong here, just kind of feel it as you go. So, alright, there are my tree trunks. And then you want to just kind of go down and out a little bit of an angle. We're doing like pine trees. And then as you go down, they get a little bit bigger, as pine trees do. Skinnier at the top and wider at the bottom. And I'm going to kind of squeeze over here and start this one so I don't run into it too bad. This one we're going to kind of running into the corner a little bit, but that's okay. Because again, there is no right, there is no wrong to this. It's just kind of an experiment, and you can kind of go in between and add a little bit more texture, like I'm doing there. I'll do one more layer, I think. I'll leave a little at the bottom because obviously trees don't go all the way down to the floor. I'm definitely going to go back and add some more. It's a pretty spotty looking tree over there, so we'll go back and add some more texture and stuff to that one. Stop right there, and then I'm going to start going through and just adding some more texture to that, some more do that tree and make it a little bigger on this side. We kind of ran out of room on the other side, and that's totally fine, but just kind of make it a little bigger over there. Alright. And just a little up there, and I'm going to kind of go up. There we go. Little tree number 2. Do this little guy. Little baby tree. And a little wider. I'm going to go back and fill that in a little bit. Yeah, I'm going to kind of bring this up a little bit too. There's a little more of the top to it. Oh, and I'm going to add another leaf. There we go. Alright, and then one more. Don't stress too much about making it perfect. It's not gonna be, and nature isn't perfect either, so why should we be? Okay, we'll go back through and add some more to that. And I'm sure some artists out there are going to tell me a way better way to do this, but me, not being an artist, this is how we're doing it. I also like to do a little bit at the bottom of like a line, kind of like it would be the ground, and make it a little bit wavy even too, just because, you know, something different to add to it. Give a little more interest and finish it a little bit. I'm going to do that. I'm going to bring it up a little here because I kind of messed that up anyway, and we're going to hide it. Alright, so there is my trees and my moon, and it kind of looks like a whole scene now. So what we need to do after this is we need to let this fully 100% dry. So you don't want this to be wet at all, and then we are going to come back and I put 2 coats of this Mod Podge. It is a sealer. It gives a little bit of a glossy finish on it too. So I will go ahead and do that off camera. It is not exciting. You're not missing anything. And I will show you the final project. Of course, my other side is basically blank. You can definitely repeat on the other side, or you could paint it all black, all red, whatever you want to do. Put a cool little quote on the back, whatever is more interesting to you. But for the sake of this tutorial, we're just going to concentrate on the front part. So I will go ahead and seal this once it dries, and I will show you the final product. Okay, so this has been painted with the Mod Podge and dried. I did just on the back, I just messed around. You don't have to put anything on the back, or you can repeat the pattern on the back, whatever you'd like. I was just trying to, do something, so I painted on the back for fun. When I did my initial craft kit, like what's in the box, I did not have this in my bag. So if for some reason you are missing one, please let us know. But I think I just happened to grab one that I forgot to put one in there. So there's a little hole at the top, and you want to thread it, the loop end through the hole. It is a little hard to do. I have to kind of push it in there a little bit. Like that. And then you put the tassel end through the loop like that and pull through so it's tight. So there you go. So yeah, that is this craft kit. Hopefully that was a fun little mini painting tutorial. I know I am not artistic at all, and I can pull this off, so I'm sure you guys can too. So definitely come pick this up at the main Woodmere branch, and we hope to see you guys soon. Thank you so much.